Emotional intelligence. You may hear about this, but you may not really understand what it means or what it is, or if you have it. And this is a must to have a successful relationship. Or if you're going into a dating situation, you want to make sure that you are as high up on the emotional intelligence ladder as you can possibly be, because that will lead you to the most success in dating. And a lot of people start out trying to date before they are, have kind of leveled up to, a good level where you have the skills that it takes to, build a healthy relationship. And, we all start at the bottom. And if you've been hurt or you've been, if you have some other issues, you may need some help building your emotional intelligence before you try to bring somebody else into your life and have a relationship and have a good relationship. Because everybody wants a good relationship, right? Most people think, I don't want a relationship unless it's a good one. Well, there are no guarantees. And it's also important to recognize, a low emotional intelligent person early on, so that you understand, what you're dealing with perhaps, or if you are even equipped to handle that. Because it's not always easy. If you're up higher on the ladder and you try to date somebody who's lower, you may have some struggles there, because you're kind of like been there, done that, and it kind of leads to a little bit of resentment and frustration. So make sure that you are as good emotionally as you can be, and look for people who are the same, like-minded. I'll say like-minded. That probably works the best. There are 4 pillars to emotional intelligence. Number 1 is self-awareness. And what that means is that you are able, a self-aware person understands that they are not the center of the universe, and that they have the ability and the skills to see beyond themselves and recognize things in others. The way somebody might perceive things, the way, things like that. It's really important to have that ability to kind of put yourself in someone else's shoes, so that you can kind of understand where they're coming from if you don't agree, and it leads to better resolution. Which leads me to self-regulation. This is pillar number 2. Self-regulation. This means that you don't have, emotional outbursts, or you can control your emotions to the point where you're not going to inflict damage on another person by reacting, or by just being, crappy to somebody, because you have the awareness in yourself and you're able to regulate your reaction or lack thereof. Reacting is never a good option. It's just not. Nothing good will come from a reactive person when they're in that state. It's just ugly. So make sure that you have, grown yourself at least to the point where you're not doing that and inflicting that onto other people, because it's not right and it's not fair, and it never has a happy ending. Number 3, the 3rd pillar, is social awareness. And again, this means that you can, understand other people's, point of view, and you may not agree with it, but you can at least respect it, and you don't have to argue about it or debate about it or try to change somebody's mind, because you understand that we are all different and we all have our own beliefs and thoughts. And who's to say it's not your job to tell somebody that they're wrong. It's your job to understand somebody and why they feel the way they do. And that's social awareness, being able to, put yourself in someone else's shoes and understand why they may feel a certain way about something in particular. And you may not understand it fully, but you can understand it enough that you can try to relate. Relating is very important, and that's why, being around like-minded people, I think, is the key to winning in the success department with a relationship, because like-minded people, you don't have to always explain yourself. It's just kind of understood. And if you have the same thought process and the same beliefs, core beliefs as somebody else, you have a better chance of having longevity with a relationship. Number 4, the fourth pillar for emotional intelligence is relationship management. And that's a big one. This means that you have done the above things that I mentioned, and also that you are able to, build from a healthy standpoint, and that you are able to look at things objectively and not emotionally, because some things are not everything is emotional. Some things are, comes from the brain, not the heart. Remember that. And it's important to be logical to some degree and have a correct, thought process, so that you're not, in that fixed mindset of negativity, that you are able to see things and you are willing to grow. And, wanting to grow a relationship means that you have an open mind for growth. And that's really important. Now, if you are lacking with social intelligence, all is not lost. You can work on it, and I suggest you do, because every relationship that you're going to have, whether it be a romantic relationship or a friend, family, whatever, emotional intelligence is really important. And you have to know how to handle different situations. You have to understand how to, if you're a reactive person, you need to understand how to take a step back and stop yourself from reacting, because like I said, reactions don't usually have a happy ending. It's usually kind of ugly. And you don't want to be inflicting that on other people. It's just not right and it's not fair. And then you go through the whole guilt process afterwards. So make sure, if you have a reactive personality or if you need to work on your emotional intelligence, that you do that. And by, the easiest way to do it is to keep track of what triggers you day to day. Keep track of it, write it out, and write out why it triggers you, why it makes you feel, and how it makes you feel. And start changing your mindset so that you can start to open your mind and have growth and be better. Because we all want to be the best version of ourselves. Good luck.